know what? I'm supporting the Prince's Rainforest project because everything he does, I really love. You know, I think his principles in life are fantastic. I think the press give him a hard time, and he deserves a bit of support. He's a good guy. When I hear about the deforestation of the rainforest, I get very annoyed. I mean, I think it's all greed. Everything in this world is done for greed, and we need sometimes to do things to protect the planet rather than to strip the planet. And you know, it's very upsetting. Animals are losing their natural habitat, tribes are losing their natural habitat, and all for what? I notice differences in temperature. I go to Australia a lot. There's an ozone hole over Australia. You get burnt much more easily. I've noticed we moved away from the river because we're getting torrential rains instead of the normal sort of British rains, and the river floods on a regular basis. Generally, just the sort of, there's no seasons anymore. The seasons seem to be disappearing. You know, you don't get, I mean, this year was slightly different, but usually you don't get a winter, spring, summer and autumn now. They sort of all blend into one. Is there a role for me to address the issue of climate change? I guess there is, you know. We're in the public limelight, if you want, and we have to get the message across that every little bit helps. Everyone's going to say, well, what difference can I make? But, you know, if we all said that, no difference would happen. So we've got to all get behind the campaign, think about things like recycling, energy levels, lighting, changing bulbs, that sort of thing, switching off lights when you're not using them, don't put the TV on standby, compost your fruit and vegetables or buy a few chickens. You know, there's loads we can do, and it really is not that hard to make a little bit of difference. Now, what's the next generation going to come to? I don't know. I mean, if we don't change now, they're going to have a tough time, or maybe 10 generations down the line. It's not that long in the big scope of the world at the moment. You know, it's around the corner. We're getting rising seas from melting icebergs and all that sort of thing. It's going to create devastation. I think that it's the building that's got to change. You know, all the houses. Don't allow houses to be built now that aren't eco-friendly. You know, it's such an easy change. Planning, all you've got to say to planners, you've got to have this, this and this in your house, and they're going to be eco-friendly. You can't do much about an old house like this, but we can do a lot about the future. Yeah, I've been to rainforests. I've been to Borneo, specifically Brunei and Malaysia, and I did a little bit of investigation there, and it's amazing. They've got a policy there that the Sultan of Brunei, very eco-friendly man, he's, for every tree they do take out, obviously they have to take out trees, they're replacing them with 2 trees. But I've known they've discovered new species, lots of new different species of snake, of spider. I mean, I was fascinated with the proboscis monkeys, you know, charging around. I think if I was to say a favourite animal, it would probably be the monkey, because I think they make the best use of the trees. And of course, there's amazing bird life, you know. I think great. I don't mind what the animal is really, as long as they've got a life and they're allowed to live it. A name for your frog.